Hi, I'm Jeff with Chandler Systems, and today I'm going to show you how to hook up our soft water injector feed kit for our side mount aeration systems. If you watched our previous video talking about cleaning the injector and screen on the system, you'll know that's really the only maintenance item that needs to be done with any regularity on one of these systems. If you have particularly high levels of iron and you find yourself having to clean that injector or screen more frequently, you might want to look into our soft water injector feed kit. So the idea of this kit is it allows the iron filter to feed the injector assembly with softened water. So the water is going through the softener and then straight into the injector. So it bypasses the screen entirely, and it greatly reduces the amount of times you'd have to clean the injector because we're feeding it with softened water. There's going to be very little iron exposure to that injector inside the air injection assembly. So when you get the kit, it's going to come with a few items. It's going to come with a length of tubing that you can cut to whatever size you need. It's going to have a white check valve, an inline spring check, and then some fittings to be able to easily hook this up to your softener. If you've got one of our softeners immediately after your iron filter, this will be everything you need to be able to tap into the outlet side of the softener and feed that treated water straight into your air injection assembly. So I've got some of these components already assembled. I'm going to show you how to hook them up. So before we begin, I'm going to leave both units in service. I'm just going to shut off the main and open a faucet downstream to take pressure off the lines. That way it'll take pressure off of both units and all the piping in between. So if you're installing this on an existing softener, you can just remove one of the bypass connectors and put this in between the bypass connector and the bypass. And this will allow us to tap into that treated water line. If this is a new install, you could use our vertical adapter kit that would have two of these placed in between the bypass and the valve, and it would put the bypass upright. But on an existing unit, it's simplest usually to just install one of these. You could also tap into the soft water line at any point after the softener with any kind of T, and it would accomplish the same goal. Then we're just going to push one of these 3/8 John Guest elbows onto there, and we're going to run this line to the inlet side of the air injector assembly for the aeration filter. And you want to make sure that this check valve is somewhere in between. It doesn't matter if it's on this side or the other side or somewhere in between. You just want to make sure in this line that this check valve is installed with the arrow pointing towards the air injection assembly. This is going to ensure that we have treated water flowing into the air injection assembly and not raw water flowing back the other way into your lines. We're going to go ahead and detach the 3/8 union here. And we'll just push that in place. I probably should have turned this off first. That would be a good idea. Since pressure is off the whole system, it didn't cause too much of a catastrophe, but we would recommend turning this valve off and then turning it back on once this is installed. And the last thing we need to do is remove this elbow here and put this plug in its place. This is no longer needed since we're drawing water from the softener. We don't need to get water from the injector area of the control valve. So be sure to plug that. So now that everything's hooked up, the next thing you want to do is turn your main back on, put the lines back under pressure, and open a cold tap downstream to get all the air out of your lines, and you want to check for leaks. As long as nothing's leaking, you're good to go. Now, when your iron filter cycles, it's going to be pulling treated water from the softener and feeding it directly into the injector. So you shouldn't have to worry about cleaning that injector as frequently, and you'll never again have to take off the injector cap and clean the screen.